We are the Group Patriot, and we are here to discuss about Dr. Jose Rizal's love life.
So the first woman in Rizal's love life was a 16 years old girl named Julia Celeste Smith. So Julia Celeste Smith was the first girlfriend of Dr. Jose Rizal. Rizal was only 15 when he first met Julia by accident in a river named Dampalit in Las Bañas, a few days after the Easter in 1877. So Julia was chasing butterflies. Rizal, ever gallant, caught two. Heart beating with fondness, Rizal offered the butterflies to Julia, and she laughed with innocent pleasure. And then Rizal was attracted to her. But for lack of subsequent contact, Rizal eventually forgot about Julia Celeste Smith.
Next is Segunda Katigbak.
First love never dies, they say, unless your first love is already engaged to be married when you met. Then you have to let it go, such like the case of Jose Rizal and Segunda Katigbak, a Batangueña girl from a wealthy clan in Lipa, Batangas. They met when Jose Rizal and his friend Mariano Katigbak, Segunda's brother, visited his grandmother in Trozo, Manila, which is now known as Tutuban. The Katigbaks were close to Rizal's grandmother, and coincidentally, Segunda was at the grandmother's house when Rizal and Mariano arrived. It was love at first sight. Segunda was also a close friend of Rizal's sister, Olympia, whom Rizal visited every week at the La Concordia College, but primarily to get a glimpse of the girl he described as having eloquent eyes, rosy cheeks, and a smile that reveals every beautiful teeth. The two became very close, however. Segunda was already engaged to Manuel Luz, a tall rich man from Lipa. That's why Rizal had to stop pursuing Segunda Katigbak.
Jacinta Ibardo Laza, a professor from Paking, Laguna, the third girlfriend of Jose Rizal. He paid court to her shortly after losing Segunda. Rizal described her as a girl with seductive and attractive eyes. Rizal gave Jacinta his full love and attention for the reason to forget all the heartaches that Segunda brought him. After visiting her in her house several times for a tutor in poetry and rhetoric, he suddenly stopped and the romance died naturally. There were allegedly two reasons why they broke up. First is that the sweet memory of Segunda was still in his heart. Second, his father objected for the reason that she is a professor of Jose Rizal.
Fourth girlfriend of Dr. Jose Rizal is Leonor Rivera. Leonor is a tall girl from Pagsanhan. Rizal used to send her love notes written in invisible ink that could only be seen through the warmth of lamp or a candle. He visited her on the eve of his departure to Spain and bid her a last goodbye. Almost simultaneously, Rizal was meeting another Leonor Valenzuela. The two were distant cousins. Rivera was Rizal's ideal girl, his model for Maria Clara, one of the main characters in his novel, Noli Me Tangere. He was ready to marry her. Unfortunately, Rivera's mother disliked Rizal, who was then earning the reputation of being a dissident, or someone who opposes officials or authorities. The two last saw each other before Rizal left for Spain in 1882. The mother hid from Rivera all the letters that Rizal had sent her when he is in Spain. After many years, Rivera then consented to marrying an Englishman, Henry Keeping, who was her mother's choice. Rizal was said to have cried shamelessly when the news of wedding reached him. Rivera never got to know that Rizal loved her just as much, and that the thought of her prevented Rizal from having a serious relationship with any of the women he encountered in Europe.
So the next on our list is Leonor Orang Valenzuela. So Orang was only 14 years old when he met Rizal, who was a sophomore in University of Santo Tomas, taking up a medical course. He is a boarder in the house of Doña Concha Leyva in Intramuros, and the family next door is the Valenzuela family. So the parents of Leonor Valenzuela were Capitan Juan and Capitana Sanday Valenzuela. Rizal became attracted to her because of her impressive height, which comes along with great grace and elegance. So Rizal is always visiting their home even without any special occasions. He was always welcomed because he was then well known because of his clever sleight of hand tricks. So drawn with Orang, he pursued her and would always send her love letters with invisible ink used for writing, which can only be read if it would be heated over a candle or a lamp. He used a mixture of some substances, which he learned from his chemistry class, where he can write without leaving any trace unless it would be put under heat. However, just like what happened to Segunda, he failed to ask her for marriage. Moreover, there were rumors before that at that time he was also pursuing Leonor Rivera. That is why they are exchanging love notes through an invisible ink.
Consuelo Ortiga E. Rey. Rizal went to Madrid to study, and through his journey, by chance he met Consuelo. She is the daughter of Don Pablo Ortiga E. Rey, former mayor of Manila who became vice president of the Council of the Philippines in the Ministry of Colonies. Despite the fact that he has a fiancée left in the Philippines, which is Leonor Rivera, still Rizal admires her. Consuelo was the crush ng bayan because a lot of Filipinos in there admire her. And among those men who compete for her attention were Eduardo Delete, who is Rizal's friend, and brothers Maximino and Antonio Paterno. Rizal was charmed by Consuelo, but eventually gave up because he was still in love with Leonor and can risk a friendship over a woman. Consuelo has a tragic ending as well. She ended up being engaged with Lete, but seems like the wedding didn't happen at all. And she's left alone after her father died. She was very unfortunate, dying alone, sad and abandoned, a victim of tuberculosis. An excellent and illustrious friend communicated to me this news when I went to Madrid, according to Rizal. May she rest in peace. But Rizal immortalized her through his writings, where one of his poems was dedicated for her, entitled Miss Coer.
Gertrude Beckett is Jose Rizal's playing in London. She is considered as one of the most beautiful girl in Jose Rizal's life, with her cheerful blue eyes, brown hair, rosy cheeks, and thin lips. She is the eldest of the Gertrude sisters. Rizal met Gertrude because she is the daughter of his landlord, Charles Beckett. She fell in love with him and became his helping hands to finish his artworks, such as The Prometheus Bound, The Triumph of Death Over Life, and The Triumph of Science Over Death. He called her Getty while she was calling him Petty. Some said that it was just one-sided all along, because Rizal was not able to reciprocate her feelings. He left London on March 19, 1889, so that Gertrude may forget him, and one of his compatriots have said he left because he was running away from a girl, but before leaving Rizal is finishing his composite carving of the heads of the Beckett sisters, and gave it to Gertrude as a remembrance.
The next one is Nelly Busted. Nelly Busted was the younger of the two daughters of a wealthy businessman named Eduardo Busted. So let's start on how Dr. Jose Rizal and Nelly met. After Jose Rizal's disappointments in Madrid, he took a vacation in the resort city of Biarritz on a French river. He was a guest of the rich Busted family at its winter residence in Villa Eliada. He had befriended Mr. Eduardo Busted and his wife and his two daughters, which is Adelina and Nelly. He used to fence with the Busted sisters at the studio of San Luna to attend the parties of Busted Parisian homes. It was in the Biarritz where Dr. Jose Rizal had a romance with Nelly and finished his second novel, The El Filibusterismo. Rizal, having lost of his beloved Leonor, he came to entertain considerable his affection for Nelly, the prettiest and younger daughter of his host. He found her to be a real Filipina, highly intelligent, vivacious in temperament, and morally upright. He wrote to his intimate friends, except Professor Blumentritt, of his love for Nelly and his intention to propose a marriage to her. His friends supported him, even Antonio Luna, who had previously loved and lost Nelly. Also, Antonio Luna encouraged Jose Rizal to marry Nelly. But unfortunately, their romance beneath the lovely Biarritz did not have a fairy tale finale. Rizal's marriage proposal failed in two reasons. The first one is that Dr. Jose Rizal refused to give up Catholic faith and be converted to Protestantism, as Nelly demanded. The second one is Nelly's mother. Nelly's mother doesn't want Rizal to be his son-in-law because she had no wish to entrust her daughter to a man who is poor in material things, a physician without a paying client, a writer who earned nothing from his pen, and a reformer who was persecuted by the friars and the government officials in his own country. But although they could not get married, Rizal and Nelly parted as good friends.
Seiko Usui or Osei-san, ninth girlfriend of Dr. Jose Rizal. On his second trip to Europe in 1888, Rizal stopped by Japan where he met Seiko Usui, an intelligent and lovely daughter of a samurai. If all he wanted was a good life, he would have married Seiko Usui and stayed on in Japan because a Spanish legation there was offering him a well-paying job. But he left Japan because he thought he was destined for a greater task in the Philippines and had to go home. In a letter, Rizal said to Seiko Usui that, "Osei-san, sayonara. No woman like you has ever loved me."
Suzanne Jacobi, also known as Petit. Dr. Rizal was 29 years old when he met Suzanne Jacobi when he was in Belgium in January 1890 with his friend Jose Albert and left the expensive city of Paris. The lady is the niece of the new landladies. During his 6-month stay in Brussels, he and Suzanne had a great time together. They even attended the Belgium Summertime Festival of 1890 with its multicolored costumes, animated floats, and lively crowds. Jose might have had a somewhat romantic intimacy with Petit, a relationship which was probably comparable to today's mutual understanding. But the relationship was most likely not that serious, as Rizal did not mention her in his letters to his intimate friend. Historically, his affair with Suzanne could not possibly blossom, as Rizal that time was busy writing the Philly, contributing for the La Solidaridad, and worrying for his family as regards the worsening Calamba agrarian trouble. Suzanne shed tears when Rizal left Belgium towards the beginning of August in 1890. Leaving Brussels, Rizal left the young Suzanne a box of chocolates. 2 months later, she wrote him a letter saying that the box of chocolates was left untouched. In the middle of April in 1891, to her surprise, Rizal returned again in Brussels and stayed again in the Jacobis boarding house. Rizal's return, however, was not specifically for Suzanne, for the hero busied himself revising and finalizing the manuscript of Elfily for publication. On the 5th day of July in 1891, Rizal bade goodbye to Brussels and Suzanne, never come back again in Belgium and in her arms.
Pastora Necesario Carrion, or also known as Inday Tora. Necesario Carrion is from the Pitan City, Zamboanga del Norte. It is where Jose Rizal was exiled. She was a pastora in the Pitan. Rizal was deeply in love with her, but seems like destiny wasn't favor for them. Their relationship didn't last long because Pastora Necesario need to fulfill her duties and want to give her full love on her church.
Josephine Leopoldine Bracken.
Who is Josephine Bracken? Marie Josephine Leopoldine Bracken was born on August 9, 1876 in Victoria, Hong Kong. She was the youngest of the 5 children of an Irish couple. Her parents are British Army Corporal James Bracken and Elizabeth Jane McBride. Her mother died soon after she was born, and she was adopted by an American, George Topher, who is an engineer at the Hong Kong Fire Department. Who is Josephine Bracken in Rizal's life? Josephine Bracken was the last woman and the wife of Jose Rizal. How did Bracken and Rizal met? Josephine and Topher met Rizal in Hong Kong when they consulted a Filipino doctor for Topher's failing eyesight. In 1895, the Topher family sailed to the Philippines to seek treatment from Rizal for Topher's cataract. They arrived in Manila on February 5, and later that month, Josephine, George, and a certain Manuela Orlac, the mistress of a friar at the Manila Cathedral, sailed to the Pitan where Rizal had been living as a political exile for 3 years. Josephine Bracken was 18 years old back then. She is said to be not a remarkable beauty, but she had an agreeable countenance because of the childlike expression of her face, her profound blue and dreamy eyes, and abundant hair of brilliant gold. It is said that the lonely Rizal was attracted to Josephine, who was a happy character despite having lived a difficult life with her adoptive father and his various wives. Unsurprisingly, the two easily fell in love with each other. How did Rizal end up marrying Josephine Bracken? Josephine and Rizal were united for the last time at the latter's cell in Fort Santiago on December 30, 1896. The couple were married in Catholic rites by Father Victor Balaguer 2 hours before Rizal's execution in Bagong Bayan.
And that ends our report. Thank you.